G'day, folks. Today I thought I'd do a quick reaction to this year's mid-season draft. Full disclosure, I haven't watched any junior footy this year. I haven't watched any state league footy, just AFL this year. And only here and there, bits and pieces. Just as I feel like. So it's been a pretty casual year. But the value that I can provide is, I guess, a historical look into those that at least were playing in years past. I can give a bit of insight into that. And also, I guess, some history into the mid-season draft and what works, what doesn't, what the teams need. That sort of stuff I'm all over. Hopefully that's sufficient to make me qualified to have a take this year. Since I've had a few requests on Twitter, I thought, yeah, look, I'll go ahead with it. Ryan Marrick, for a bit of history, last year in the NAB League he played only the 3 games, injury restricted there. He'd been really a key defender, but as I understand it, this year he's transformed into a key forward and has taken huge steps in his game. And with key position players, what I've historically said is that those that show substantial rates of improvement and then also have the numbers to go with it, they're the ones that typically go on and do really well at AFL level. He's understandably, I guess, the pick one on that basis. I have to concede I haven't seen his stats. I haven't seen any of the under 18 stats this year, but I'm going to assume his stats are pretty good. Number 2, Robert Hansen. To me, this is a slightly surprising one, at least based on play last year. Hansen was playing in the Waffle Colts last year and look, wasn't fantastic, but he's obviously taken the steps this year to be, I guess, considered the number 2 pick in this year's mid-season draft. But speedy crumbing forward. Has some tricks around goal, but that's the type you're getting. And look, North Melbourne do need that sort of crumbing forward. They do sort of have that, I guess, need and vacancy there. We'll have to see if he can develop into an AFL caliber talent. But certainly from last year's play, I do have to concede I'm slightly skeptical. But hey, if he's improved this year, again, I have to concede I haven't seen his numbers. Who knows? Maybe he could develop. You've got Clay Tucker next for Hawthorn. So basically just athletic tap ruckman. I guess we'll have to see. The thing I don't know is, I guess, to what degree has he improved this year and how much has he stepped up? Typically with ruckman, they tend to develop quite a bit later, come good in their mid-20s, and the history of really the best ruckman taken, you've had so many of them taken as rookies. So whether it's the likes of Dean Cox, Aaron Sandilands, Shane Mumford, Darren Jolly, the list goes on, Rowan Marshall, Oscar McInerney. So from any generation, you've got this really heavy concentration of players who have developed having previously been picked as rookies. I do believe there is method to Hawthorn's, I guess, decision-making here of not only picking a ruck prospect last year, but also going again this year and grabbing another. That's some thoughts there. Matt Coulthard, I'd have to check my notes here. I just took some ever so briefly. He's one of the 4 prospects I have not seen. What I just quickly researched and just doing a quick Google search is new to Glenelg this year. And seems like a small crumbing forward. Can't really give any insight into good pick otherwise. But you often do get mature ages that do come in from the various local leagues around the place, and just within that 1 year in the VFL, they get picked, go up to the AFL and do really well. Tom Stewart's a great example of that, where he was showing great signs in the Geelong League and then goes up to the VFL, does really well for Geelong and then gets picked from there and obviously goes on to have a great AFL career. Certainly those that I haven't seen and haven't been playing whatever competition until this year in terms of the state league competitions, definitely don't dismiss them, and I certainly won't be dismissing this pick. GWS passing, I don't know whether it's just they're not following enough of the mature age talent, but they've certainly got quite a number of list holes that they could have benefited from filling. Interesting call there. So Harry Arnold, mature age key defender. He was previously a Gold Coast Academy prospect, and then he's since become a Brisbane VFL defender or key defender. Look, reasonable all rounder, can defend, can intercept a little bit. So look, he could be a component. For me, it's probably more of a depth addition, but look, Sydney are pretty thin in the way of key position players. So I can sort of understand and appreciate why they'd go in that direction with that pick. Mitch Hardy, look, for me, this is a surprising one. He'd be in his mid-20s now, to hazard a guess for his age. But, look, having sort of seen him last year in the Sandful, wasn't incredible. Like, he's sort of a mid-forward, handy for state league level, but I wouldn't have said AFL caliber. So, look, he's probably stepped up this year, I'm imagining. So, and if he has, well, that would probably explain a little bit as to why Geelong went this direction. But, certainly a pick with regards to age where, look, they're going all in on winning now, and that's very much understandable. And look, if you're bringing in guys mid-year, you want guys who are going to bring a pretty immediate impact. So, certainly any club going for players that are in their mid-20s or even late 20s, I sort of thoroughly endorse, assuming they're, of course, good footballers. Just because with particularly younger guys coming in, well, it takes ages for them to sort of build that continuity and whatnot. And look, they might only be there 6 months, so it's not great. But certainly if you're a contender like Geelong, no doubt aspire to be, it sort of makes sense there. So next up, we've got the Fremantle pick. So we've got Ethan Stanley. And here's another one where, look, I'd have to again refer to my notes. So I haven't seen, new to Box Hill, and sounds like is a sort of line breaker who sort of penetrates and opens up the game with both his run and to some degree his kicking as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes about things. And again, being one where I guess he wasn't playing in the VFL last year, we'll have to see sort of how that goes. But again, those that weren't in the state leagues and come over from other competitions and really develop once they get to the VFL or whatever given state league, well, oftentimes the results are good. So we'll have to see again in this instance. And then you've got Jaden Hunter. So he's basically a high flying key position player. So he's played most of his footy up forward. But look, as that sort of high flying marking type, look, I could see him just as easily adjust behind the ball and play tall. So certainly gives Essendon options, and look, they really do need that sort of additional key position player, even if it's just as depth, just over the short term. So we'll have to see there how that goes. Honestly, none of the players immediately are sort of standing out as guys who will have super instant impacts, and of those that I guess would be more ready are probably more likely depth. So that's something interesting anyway there that I'm noticing so far. Caleb Poulter, so former Collingwood AFL listed player. For me, a really surprising delisting, and it felt like it was on the back of being pretty ordinary defensively, where really not laying tackles, probably not working hard enough defensively, but what he does bring to the table, so he's got great height, so he's about a 193, 194 centimetre mid. He can play inside, outside, mostly outside, but really good runner for that height, so really has a good burst of speed, can carry the footy with him. So for me, he should be on an AFL list. But the Dogs are probably the team I wouldn't really want to be bringing in guys who defensively aren't ideal. So that's sort of the thing there where I'm not too sure. But look, they do need something additional on the outside. So assuming at least in the future they can tighten up defensively and maybe bring in some more defensively minded mids for a bit more balance. Look, that plausibly could work. Quinton Narkle, look, I think for Port Adelaide, realistically, his depth, I don't really see him being best 22, but look, he's sort of handy depth to have through that midfield, and you can rotate him forward if need be as well. Look, injects speed, can find the footy, can have an impact here and there as well. So, and then next pick we have is Brandon Ryan. So here's another where look, I have to say I haven't seen him. So, yeah, so key forward with sort of ruck height is what I could find from, doing a sort of quick search on him. So, cousin of Luke Ryan, it sounds like. So, obviously there's some footy pedigree there. So, we'll have to see what he looks like. Sounds like he's sort of a bit older. So we'll have to see, I guess, how that turns out and to see how he develops, because as that sort of taller type, it's really sort of tracking that rate of development and that continued improvement that's, really key. The next one, again, another case of haven't seen him play, so new to Richmond VFL. So, from, again, doing a quick search, it just sounds like he's a general defender. So, again, don't know how good or otherwise he is, but it'll be a wait and see, I suppose, in his case. And then Jack Buller, I have seen quite a bit of for a few years, and he's one actually going back a couple of years ago that I thought was sort of on the draftable side. But yeah, sort of that 199 centimeter, strong marking key forward, so could hit the scoreboard definitely. And look, you could put him through the ruck if need be as well. So for me, is really a depth addition for Sydney. Don't think he's best 22 caliber, but again, Sydney have been struck with those sort of, I guess, injuries to their key tools. So that's really been a problem. So they're obviously going all in on making sure those immediate key position spots are filled, so that they can sort of adequately get through the season in a push to, in their case, hopefully make the finals again. And before I conclude the video as well, I thought I'd make mention that really all the players just about who are picked in the mid-season draft, I wouldn't have expected necessarily at the end of last year to have seen drafted. So the likes of a Narkle or Poulter, well, they were both fairly unlucky not to get picked up sort of last year in the off-season. So to that degree, I can sort of understand that. And look, with a Jack Buller, he's been sort of thereabouts for a few years. But look, those that typically don't get drafted for a few years when they've sort of come onto the radar, typically they don't get that look. So, and then with the others, well, it just seems like they're respectively ascending players. So, typically in the mid-season draft, it is usually those who are really on the rapid ascent and coming good this year, whether it's whether they're from the under 18s and they've taken that next step, whether they had injuries or whether maybe they're a late bloomer. You've got those different sort of scenarios, or from the state leagues, you might have some who, again, they've either had their injuries, maybe they're late bloomers and they've come good, or maybe they come from a local league and really shine upon coming to the state leagues. And so they're the types that typically get picked. And for some future videos, and none of these are necessarily coming anytime soon, but I've been thinking about for a while completing a video around Tasmania joining the AFL and what a Tasmanian team could look like and how the concessions should go for them to build a satisfactory team. That's one that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do that well. So I will put a bit of time into that if and when sort of, I guess I feel like doing that. There is a bit of time given they won't be joining the AFL anytime immediately, but other videos I'm thinking about. So I might do maybe a trade period or AFL draft review, particularly the trade period one. I guess I'll be of more use, whereas with the national draft one, there'll be probably, as with a mid-season draft, quite a few players that I either haven't seen much or they've just evolved beyond a modicum of what they were certainly last year. So I will have quite dated opinions, it's fair to say, on this year's draft prospects, so apologies with that. But one project that I am considering over the off-season, since I am fortunate enough to have Christmas holidays, I am thinking about doing a comprehensive, pretty much every draft redone video. So that one would be a very heavily researched one, and now that I've got the time and freedom to do it, I think I'd like to actually do a really good job and do something that really hasn't been done, in my opinion, at least very well before. So that's one to look forward to. if it's not this Christmas, then yeah, it would be the following Christmas holidays. But yeah, I think I probably will over this Christmas break. So I'll see how I'm going with everything. But yeah, that's one that, again, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it really well. So yeah, watch out for that, because at some stage I will certainly get around to it, and yeah, certainly stir up some good conversation, hopefully. But yeah, anyway, folks, see you in the next video.